Howdy folks, this is Checkers, and well, these are the patch notes for Fallout 76 patch 1.0.6.0. I went looking for them on the forums or on their website, couldn't find them, which I imagine I just wasn't looking in the right places, although I don't know where else I could look for them. Be that all as it may, I thought I'd make a video on the patch notes and read them for those who, like me, perhaps couldn't find them and didn't perhaps have the launcher to look at. So, here we go. We're releasing patch 6 today, which includes an increase to stash size, balance, and design changes, and another large wave of bug fixes, many of which were reported by players in the Fallout 76 community. As always, this is all possible thanks to your support and feedback for the game. Please keep sharing your thoughts and bug reports with us. Take a look at some of the highlights from patch 6, and then continue on to read about the rest of the changes coming with today's update. Patch highlights. Increased stash limit. We've once again buffed up maximum stash size, this time from 600 to 800 pounds, so that you can store even more goodies from your adventures in Appalachia. Player icon display. Player icons will now display whenever you hover over a player or an owned workshop on the map, as well as when you view turrets created by someone else. Scorch Beast attacks. We've reduced the frequency of Scorch Beast sonic scream attacks, so you have a little more time to react between volleys. Wanted. We've made an adjustment so that players must now destroy objects in another player's camp or workshop to become wanted, which should reduce cases of accidental crime. Workshops. You can now contest a workshop that's owned by another player from anywhere inside the workshop's build area, which should make it easier to attempt to contest a workshop even if it's been barricaded by the owner. Patch version download sizes for today's patch will be approximately 4.5 gigabytes for consoles and around 3.5 gigabytes for PC. And all versions are 1.0.6.0. General server maintenance. As we work on world servers that have been running for a long time and hitting some lag issues, we'll be performing maintenance on those servers more frequently. You may receive an in-game message alerting you to this maintenance when it occurs, and you may be asked to join another world. This should improve the play experience for everyone during your adventures in Appalachia. Balance and design. Power armor. The amount of springs required to craft and repair level 25, 35, and 45 excavator power armor legs has been significantly reduced. Weapons. Flare guns have been removed from the legendary weapon list as they can't benefit from legendary mods. Camp, crafting, and workshops. Stash limit. The storage limit for the stash has been increased from 600 to 800 pounds. Dev note. We've been reading your feedback that the current stash limit of 600 pounds could use an additional increase, and after some investigation, found that we could offer some more storage space in the stash. Camp placement. If a player's current camp location is occupied upon joining a world, a message will now display which gives them option to stay in the current world or attempt to join a new one. If the player chooses to find another world, they will be removed from the current world, and matchmaking will attempt to place them in a new one. This process can be repeated if the player's camp location happens to also be occupied in the new world. Workshops. Players no longer need to interact with claimed workshops directly to contest ownership. The workshop can now be contested and captured from anywhere within the build area. Dev note. The ability to contest a claimed workshop is intended and encouraged behavior as part of workshop design. This change should prevent situations where a workshop owner could prevent others from attempting to contest it without becoming wanted by destroying something or picking a lock to reach the workshop. Enemies. Scorch Beasts. Increase the timer between successive sonic scream volleys to 10 seconds for Scorch Beasts and the Scorch Beast Queen in order to reduce the frequency of these attacks. Dev note. This change should help players have some more time to react between sonic scream volleys. We've also been reading lots of feedback about Scorch Beasts in general that the community has been sharing, and we're looking into further improvements and balance changes we can bring to them in the future. PvP. Wanted. Damaging a camp or workshop object created by another player no longer causes the attacker to become wanted. The object must now be completely destroyed by the attacker in order to flag them as wanted. Dev note. We've received feedback from players who felt that it was too easy to become wanted accidentally by damaging others' camp and workshopped objects. We agree and made this change to help limit cases where a stray bullet could result in a bounty on your head. Sound. Sound effects. Pulling the pin on a grenade to prime it before throwing. Now play audible sound effects for nearby players. Map. Sound effects now play when placing or moving. Custom map markers. User interface. Player icons hovering over a player's name on the map will now display their current player icon. Player icons hovering over an owned workshop on the map will now display the current player's player icon. Turrets. Viewing a turret placed by another player in their camp or at a workshop will now display the owner's name and player icon in the turret's nameplate. Voice chat. The color of voice chat speaker icons on player nameplates now update based on that player's current status. Neutral players display as pale yellow, allies display gold, and hostile and wanted display red. Bug fixes. Performance and stability. Loading. Addressed an issue that could cause controls to lock up if the player opened the Pip-Boy immediately after encountering a loading screen. Loading. Fixed an issue that could cause the player to encounter an infinite loading screen if they quit to the main menu immediately after joining a world. Loading. Fixed an issue on PC that could result in an infinite loading screen if multiple players on a team joined a world simultaneously. Loading. Fixed an issue that could cause a player to encounter an infinite loading screen due to an inventory discrepancy. Performance. Addressed an issue that could cause hitching while scrapping items. Performance. Attempting to craft many items at very high speed will now result in a delay of up to 1 second between subsequent crafting attempts after the first few. This was done to help improve server performance and should not affect normal crafting. Performance. Addressed an issue that could impact server performance when scrapping a large number of items in rapid succession. Performance. Addressed an issue that could cause reduced frame rates when many players were firing weapons simultaneously in the same area. Stability. Addressed a crash that could occur when interacting with a power armor station while wearing power armor. Art and graphics. Apparel. Hair no longer clips through the Nuke Girl rocket suit helmet. Apparel. Under armor no longer remains visible while wearing the Silver Shroud costume. Emotes. Fixed an issue causing reduced frame rates during the snowball fight emotes animation. Enemies. Fixed an issue that could cause a second head to appear on a specific scorched variant after decapitating it via headshot. Graphics. Switching outfits or weapons while the chameleon mutation or legendary effect is active no longer causes those items to appear visible to other players. Nuke code pieces. Letters and numbers displayed by Nuke code pieces will no longer appear misaligned on pickup. Perks. The throwing arc displayed by the Fire in the Hole perk now remains visible if the player moves while holding a fragmentation grenade. Photo mode. Returning to first-person view after exiting photo mode with a ranged weapon equipped no longer causes the character's model's hands to appear offset or dark graphic effects to appear on screen. Camp, crafting, and workshops. Blueprints. Blueprints containing a mirror ball can now be placed correctly and no longer cause an object is floating error message to display. Blueprints. Attempting to place a blueprint containing objects that have been placed on shelves no longer causes an object needs support error message to display. Blueprints. Blueprint names now support a maximum of 25 characters. Budget. Tamed creatures no longer permanently consume camp budget after they are killed. Camp. Fixed an issue that could cause a camp dialogue to display to a new character before they had placed their camp for the first time. Crafting. Fixed an issue that could prevent items from being crafted or repaired despite having the required materials if those materials were split between the inventory and stash. Crafting. Players who have exceeded the absolute weight limit of 1,500 pounds plus their current maximum carry weight are now correctly notified that they are unable to craft items while over the limit. Exploit. Addressed an exploit that could allow items to be duplicated when moving camp locations. Exploit. addressed an exploit that could allow items to be duplicated if a blueprint failed to save properly. Recipes and plans. Fixed an issue that could prevent a player from crafting a recipe or plan they had previously learned. Scrapping. Bleached dogwood is now protected from auto-scrapping when crafting, however it can still be scrapped manually. Workbenches. Attempting to place a power armor station on a foundation in a structure that has multiple levels no longer causes the station to be placed on the second floor. Enemies. Scorch Beast Queen. The Scorch Beast Queen can now correctly drop plans from the full range of Ultrasight Power Armor mod plans in her loot list, and players now correctly receive a random roll from her loot list. Mothman. Fixed an issue in which Mothman would not leave the area when approached or respond to attacks. Items. Apparel. The Clean Clown outfit now correctly counts toward completion of the Kill Wendigo side mission at Freddy's House of Scares. Apparel. The Nuke Girl rocket suit can no longer be equipped or unequipped while wearing power armor. Apparel. The Nuke Girl rocket suit outfit has been separated into two pieces, the body piece and the upper helmet. Dev note, for the moment, the upper helmet, when not worn with the body piece, looks to be floating partly from the player character. This is temporary until we can rework the helmet itself. This was a necessary change to prevent poor interactions with power armor and under armor. Players who already own the rocket suit will automatically have access to craft the helmet. Armor. The punishing legendary effect no longer reflects slap damage dealt by another player. This should prevent cases where a player wearing punishing armor could become wanted unintentionally due to reflected damage that killed their attacker. Armor. Fixed an issue causing damage reflected by the punishing legendary effect to be reduced based on the defending player's resistances. Caps containers. Now award the correct number of caps and no longer generate only one cap as loot. Exploits. Removed an apparel recipe that was not intended to be available in-game, as well as items created using that recipe. Headlamps. Removed an erroneously added atomic shop flag from all non-Mothman power armor headlamps. Also added a separate red Mothman headlamp that works once Mothman power armor is equipped. Holotapes. Choosing to stop a holotape now correctly stops that holotape from continuing to play. Mods. Aiming down the sights after applying the Recon Sensors mod to a power armor helmet now correctly marks enemies on the compass. Power armor. Resistances are no longer incorrectly reduced when entering power armor while wearing under armor. Power armor now correctly prioritizes using the fusion core in the player's inventory that has the least remaining charge rather than selecting them at random. Power armor. Fixed an issue that could allow power armor pieces with atomic shop paints applied to be transferred into containers. Weapons. The M79 grenade launcher and the auto grenade launcher are now classified as heavy weapons and correctly benefit from all heavy weapon perks except heavy gunner, as they benefit from Demolitions Expert instead. Perks. Last Laugh. Explosive bait is no longer dropped on death while the Last Laugh perk is equipped. Martial Artist. Now only applies its attack speed bonus to melee weapons and no longer incorrectly increases the Gatling gun's rate of fire. Ricochet. The Ricochet perk fanfare no longer displays repeatedly when its effects are triggered multiple times in quick succession. Team effects. A team invite must be accepted and a team formed before team-based perks such as squad maneuvers will apply to their team effects. PvP. Respawn. Being killed by a friend, selecting respawn, and then using the social menu to respawn at that friend's location no longer causes those players to remain hostile toward each other. Quest events and challenges. Quest containers. Non-quest items can no longer be transferred into the Feed the People and Path to Enlightenment event quest containers. One of Us. The Congressional Access Card is no longer lost if the player is disconnected or the server crashes. Survival. Addictions. Fixed an issue which prevented addictions currently affecting the character from displaying in the Pip-Boy status menu. Diseases. Radworms now only increases radiation damage taken by 50% and no longer incorrectly increases mutation and other effects. Mutations fixed an inconsistent interaction between the class Freak, Barbarian, and Evasive perks that could cause them to stop functioning, while affected by the Herd Mentality mutation. Mutations. The Healing Factor mutation no longer causes players to become invincible while in the downed state. User Interface. Camp. A player's name will now correctly appear on screen when viewing their camp even if that player is not nearby. Controls. Plugging in a controller after launching Fallout 76 on PC using a keyboard and mouse no longer causes the button indicators for interactable objects like containers or workbenches to disappear until the client is relaunched. Controls. Pressing the Quick Swap key, default left D-pad, after the current weapon breaks now correctly swaps to an alternative weapon. Crosshairs. Fixed an issue causing crosshairs to expand and contract incorrectly for players running the game using 21:9 aspect ratios. Game camera. Changing the face preset in the Change Appearance menu outside of Vault 76 no longer causes the camera to show an unintended angle in third-person view. Holotapes. Attempting to play a blank terminal holotape no longer causes the Pip-Boy to display a blank screen. Localization. Perk card pack text that displays when opening a new perk card pack is now correctly localized in non-English versions of the game client. Map. Fixed an issue that could prevent player icons from displaying on the map when choosing a respawn location. Map. Over-encumbered players who die inside a nuke zone can now correctly respawn at the nearest map marker. Notifications. Ammo removed messages no longer appear on screen while harvesting flora or other materials shortly after firing a weapon. Notifications. The You Have Joined a Team notification now correctly displays console controls rather than PC hotkeys in its subtitled text while playing on consoles. Notification. Fixed an issue where players could sometimes receive a max weight limit reached message when attempting to trade with other players. Photo mode frames. Photo mode frames that were purchased from the Atomic Shop now correctly display the atom symbol in the photo mode menu. Shop. Fixed an issue on PC that could cause controls to lock up when purchasing atoms. Shop. Purchasing multiple items from the Atomic Shop in quick succession no longer prevents those items from appearing in crafting menus until the client is relaunched. Shop. Preview images have been added for the Kill, Laugh, Love neon sign. Teams. Attempting to join a teammate in the world from the main menu using the social menu no longer causes a message to display stating that they will be removed from the team. Teams. Fixed an issue that could prevent team members from loading into a world with the team leader after the leader selected play. Teams. Fixed an issue in which the Play with Team option on the main menu became non-functional when attempting to rejoin teammates in a world following a crash or disconnect. Transfer menu. The transfer bar now correctly stops at 1 when scrolling to reduce the transfer quantity. Voice chat. The voice chat speaker icon now correctly appears in player nameplates in Team Chat and in the area chat list when a player is speaking. And those are the patch notes for Fallout 76 1.0.6.0. I hope that you all found something that is, well, something to look forward to, and that you enjoyed my reading thereof. I would like to say thank you for watching. I hope you found the video entertaining and maybe even just a little informative. I would like to invite you to subscribe. Thank you kindly if you are already subscribed. Most of all, though, I would like to ask you to please take care.